as head coach of the New York Liberty. In a statement released by the team, it says in part, quote, Sandy finishes her tenure in New York as the winningest coach in franchise history, and she took us to never-seen-before heights as the first head coach to lead the Liberty to a championship.
This is insane. Caitlin Clark just dropped an absolute bombshell, and the WNBA looks completely unprepared to deal with it. Just hours after Sandy Brondello, the championship-winning coach of the New York Liberty, was shockingly fired out of nowhere, Clark let loose. And what she said has fans in total disbelief, because let's be real, this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's politics, massive egos, and pure chaos colliding all at once. So here's the big question. Did praising Caitlin Clark actually cost Sandy Brondello her job? Sound off in the comments, because this one needs to be talked about.
We have you here, though. Another story we're following in the W, the Liberty. They parted ways with head coach Sandy Brondello this week. Brondello had led the Liberty to 2 WNBA finals in the last 4 seasons. And of course, she won the championship with the Liberty last year. And today we heard from the Liberty brass for the first time since her dismissal. What can you tell us about why the Liberty made this decision? Because it was perplexing to a lot of fans.
Yeah, well, Liberty GM Jonathan Kolb met with a select group of reporters today, and he called this decision proactive, not reactive, and said that it was really a determination to try to continue to evolve with the league and really lean into innovation and adapting with where the league is going. So much so, in fact, that the same kind of effort and conversation was on his mind last year when they ultimately won the championship.
Okay, let's break this down, because the WNBA is officially upside down right now. The New York Liberty, a team that finally reached the mountaintop fresh off their first ever championship, just blindsided everyone. Out of nowhere, they tossed head coach Sandy Brondello straight out the door. No build-up. No heartfelt send-off, just a cold press release. A quick thanks for the memories, best of luck, and that was it. Brutal. Now, if this was about performance, fine. That's sports. Coaches get fired all the time. But here's the thing, this had nothing to do with performance. Brondello is the winningest coach in Liberty history. She literally delivered them their first championship, the very thing the franchise had been chasing for decades. That's supposed to buy you job security. Instead, she barely got a handshake before security was showing her the exit.
Wait, no. Sandy Brondello has been to the postseason every single year since she's been in New York. She's won 2 championships, one in Phoenix, one in New York. I'll ask you, fair or foul, that the Liberty are parting ways with Sandy Brondello 1 year removed from a champion?
So why on earth would New York fire the one person who brought them credibility, stability, and, a championship? ESPN floated the first excuse, claiming it was championship or bust. Translation, if she didn't win back-to-back, ownership wanted her out. But let's be real, does that even sound believable? Because when you peel back the layers, this isn't about trophies. This is about Caitlin Clark. Yep, the rookie-turned-superstar-turned-headline machine is sitting dead center in this storm. Sandy Brondello's crime. Having the audacity, the nerve, to openly praise Caitlin Clark. She said what every single fan already knows, Clark has changed the game. Ratings are skyrocketing. Arenas are packed. Jerseys are flying off the shelves. For the first time ever, the WNBA is on the mainstream sports radar. And Clark is the undeniable reason why. But here's the problem. Some people inside the league can't stand that truth. Some veterans feel overshadowed. Some coaches act like giving Clark her flowers somehow takes away from their own stars. And when Brondello, supposed to be the guardian of New York's super team brand, spoke that truth out loud, it rubbed Liberty management the wrong way in the worst possible way.
Yeah, you never want to see a player get injured, and a player like Caitlin coming back has had 2 injuries this year. She's a great player. It will be good for our craft to see her, but hopefully we get to see her after the first All-Star, get to play again. As for the All-Star, I'm excited to get to know her a little bit. I think that's the part of the All-Star, going to coach players who haven't coached before and get them to know them a little bit and enjoy the whole celebration.
Let me break this down for you. Sandy Brondello praised Caitlin Clark during an All-Star interview and called her transformative. She flat out highlighted what the whole world can see. Clark boosted TV ratings through the roof, packed arenas night after night, and opened doors for women's basketball like nobody before her. And somehow, that honesty became a problem. The Liberty Brass didn't want that spotlight on Clark. They wanted the narrative to stay glued to Breanna Stewart, Jonquil Jones, and Sabrina Ionescu, their cornerstones. But Brondello spoke the truth, and less than a season later, boom, she was gone now. Caitlin Clark is no stranger to drama. From day one in the WNBA, she's been targeted, hacked, shoved, mocked. She's taken harder fouls than anyone in the league. Opposing coaches roll their eyes at the attention she gets. Even referees seem to treat her like she's under a microscope. And through all of that, she stayed calm, played her game, and let her work speak for itself. But this time, after Brondello's firing, Clark finally snapped. She said she was sick of seeing people punished for speaking the truth. That the game should be about celebrating success, not tearing people down. And then she dropped the line that fans are still buzzing about: if praising hard work is a problem, then the problem isn't me. Boom. MIC drop. She didn't name names, but everyone, and I mean everyone, knew exactly what she meant. Clark wasn't about to let Brondello's firing slide without comment, and honestly, who can blame her? Clark didn't ask to be the face of the league. She didn't beg for ESPN cameras or packed arenas. That came naturally, because she's just that good. She hits logo threes. She plays with pure fire. She connects with fans in a way the WNBA has been chasing for decades. Instead of embracing that genuine phenomenon, too many people are insecure about it. And Sandy Brondello just became collateral damage in the chaos.
WNBA history, all time, to win a title with multiple franchises and her 40 playoff wins. They are the second most all time behind.
Now, let's really put this into perspective, because this firing looks downright insane once you lay out Sandy Brondello's resume. In 2022, she took the liberty from a 16-20 record to the playoffs. In 2023, she went 32-8 and reached the finals. In 2024, she went 32-8 again and actually won the finals. That's not good, that's historic. She's one of only 2 coaches to win titles with multiple franchises, and she ranks second all-time in playoff wins. You don't stumble into those numbers. That's straight-up greatness. Why on earth fire her? Because she stepped outside the script. Because she praised the wrong player. And now the Liberty look less like a franchise chasing wins and more like one obsessed with controlling the narrative. Fans aren't stupid. They saw it instantly. Social media exploded. Liberty fans were livid. Fever fans were shocked. Neutral fans called it pathetic. And when Clark spoke up, boom, gasoline on the fire. Instead of burying the story, the league just amplified it, and let's talk ripple effects. Players notice. Coaches notice. Free agents notice. If you're looking at New York right now, are you really excited to join a team that just tossed its winningest coach for petty politics? If you're Breanna Stewart, do you actually feel valued when management ignores your public support for the coach? This isn't just about one firing, it's about trust. And right now, the Liberty have none. Meanwhile, Brondello's story isn't over. Seattle needs a coach. Expansion teams are coming. Somebody's going to scoop her up fast, because winners don't stay unemployed. And you better believe she'll use this as fuel. Imagine her taking another team to the finals and beating New York on the way there. That would be the ultimate karma. But here's where it really explodes: Caitlin Clark. She's only in year 2, and her influence is already massive. Ratings, ticket sales, jersey sales, everything spikes when she's on the floor. She didn't just transform Indiana. She transformed the entire WNBA. And that's exactly why her name keeps sparking controversy. She's too big to ignore, too impactful to dismiss, and way too honest to silence. Clark's comments after Brondello's firing weren't just about defending a coach. They were about drawing a line. She basically told the league, stop playing games. MIC dropped, message sent. Stop punishing people for telling the truth. Stop being so insecure. That's not just a star talking, that's a leader talking. And that's exactly why fans love Caitlin Clark. Now, is she perfect? Of course not. She's still young, still learning, still carrying the insane weight of being the face of an entire league. But when you see her step up like this, when you see her refuse to let a respected coach get tossed aside without pushback, you realize she's more than just a player. She's the one holding the league accountable, and that's the real fear here. The WNBA can't control Clark the way it controls its narratives. They can't silence her by firing her. They can't spin her out of the conversation, because she is the conversation. The Liberty thought they were protecting their brand by cutting Brondello, but instead they exposed themselves as fragile. The league thought it could redirect the spotlight, but Clark's comments only made it burn brighter. And now the whole world is watching. So let's be real. The WNBA isn't just dealing with a firing, it's dealing with a credibility crisis. If you can win a championship, set franchise records, and still get fired for praising a star, what does that say about stability in this league? It says politics runs deeper than performance. And Clark made that crystal clear. She didn't name names, and she didn't go for cheap shots, but she called out the system itself. She exposed how ridiculous it is that respect can be treated like betrayal. And she reminded everyone that you can't claim you want growth while punishing the very voices driving it. And that hit fans hard, because a lot of them already feel like the WNBA gatekeeps itself into irrelevance. Think about it, Clark is only in year 2. She's not supposed to be the one setting the tone for accountability. That's usually left for veterans or executives. But instead, here she is, standing up for a coach tossed aside and calling out the double standards that have dragged women's basketball for years. Say whatever you want about Clark's game, but you cannot deny she has backbone. And here's the irony. The very thing that got Brondello in trouble, praising Clark, is the same thing that makes Clark impossible to silence. She's earned every ounce of attention she gets. This isn't empty hype. This is a player who went from college phenomenon to pro game changer in record time. You can't fake sold-out arenas. You can't fake TV ratings doubling and tripling. You can't fake the energy that follows her every move. That's why Brondello's comments stung Liberty leadership so badly, because they weren't lies. They were undeniable truth. And truth hurts when you're trying to convince the world your roster, not Clark, is the real face of the league. New York wanted Caitlin Clark to stay in Deanna's story, not theirs. But Sandy Brondello refused to play that game. She said out loud what everyone could already see, and for that, she's gone. Now here's where it gets twisted. ESPN reported that if Brondello hadn't won the title last year, she would have been fired then. Let that sink in. That means the Liberty basically wanted her out no matter what. Winning just bought her a few extra months. How is that supposed to inspire confidence in your franchise? Players don't want to sign with a team where championships don't even guarantee security. Coaches don't want to work for a front office that yanks the rug out. And fans? They don't want to cheer for a team more focused on optics than basketball. That's why Caitlin Clark's announcement landed like a thunderbolt. It wasn't just about defending Brondello. It was about exposing a toxic culture that values narratives over results. Clark basically told the league, cut the nonsense. Celebrate the players. Celebrate the coaches. Celebrate the game. Stop turning every compliment into a political landmine. That's not growth. That's sabotage, and don't forget the context here. The Liberty wasn't some rebuilding bottom feeder. They were champions. They had Brianna Stewart, Jonquil Jones, Sabrina Ionescu. The roster, the momentum, and the fan base. All they needed was stability. Instead, they created chaos. Why? Because their coach dared to say Caitlin Clark mattered. And here's the irony. By trying to downplay Clark's impact, the Liberty and the league only made her bigger. Now she's not just the player who sells out arenas. She's the player who defends coaches. She's the player who calls out insecurity and protects the game itself. That makes her even more powerful, and it makes fans rally behind her harder than ever. Just look at social media. The second Brondello's firing hit, fans started posting Clark highlights alongside the coach's quotes. This is what she got fired for, became the question of the day. Memes exploded, clips went viral, and by the end of the week, the story wasn't Liberty moves on from Brondello. The story was the WNBA can't handle Caitlin Clark. That's a PR disaster of epic proportions. And here's the thing, Clark didn't even need to say much. No press conference, no long rant. Just one sharp comment, and then she let the fans take it from there. That's influence. That's power. And that's exactly why the league is panicking. No matter how they try to spin it, the spotlight keeps snapping right back to her. Where does this leave Sandy Brondello? Honestly, in a great position. Her reputation is bulletproof. Everyone knows she's a winner. Everyone knows she got done dirty. And everyone knows she won't stay unemployed for long. Seattle needs a coach. Expansion teams are on the way. And now she's got something even more valuable than a resume. She's got a chip on her shoulder. Whoever hires her next isn't just getting a coach, they're getting a motivated champion. Where does this leave New York? In absolute chaos. Now they have to find someone willing to step into a locker room full of stars while answering endless questions about why the last coach got tossed. Whoever takes that job is in a no-win spot. Praise Clark, and you'll get labeled disloyal. Ignore Clark, and you'll look delusional. Lose games, and we already know how Liberty Management handles that. And where does this leave Caitlin Clark? Stronger than ever. She didn't ask for this controversy, but she handled it like a pro. She defended someone who deserved defending. She stood up for fairness without turning it into a circus. And she reminded the world she's not just here to drop logo threes. She's here to hold people accountable. That's leadership. That's influence. And that's why fans love her. So let's just call it what it is. The WNBA didn't just lose a coach. They exposed themselves. They showed everyone how insecure they really are about Clark's rise. And in the process, they handed her even more power. Because now she's not just the star of the court. She's the voice of the league. She's the one people turn to when things get messy. And no spin, no politics, and no firing can change that.